If there's one thing events has taught me is that even when the money doesn't come, my passion keeps the business alive.
For the holiday season, we start Financially Incorrect Business Edition speaking to Monicah Etemesi, a Nairobi-based entrepreneur, wedding planner, and luxury event stylist, best known as the founder of Pritt Events. Starting the business was no easy feat, and she had to pack up her bags and essentially close the business for about a year in the middle of COVID.
Come March and the government is like, it's a shutdown. It literally crushed me. I was not in a position to keep staying in Nairobi. I packed up everything, gave notice to my landlord, carried everything in my house, transported it to Kitale.
When she comes back for a second time, hear about how networking and recommendations got her from a revenue of 20,000 for her first gig to a revenue of 4 million gross for her second gig.
The biggest gigs I've ever done have come from referrals. So this is a lady who tells her mom, there's this lady who did my baby shower. She does a good job. The mom was launching a manifesto for something and the lady gave me the gig.
She tells us about the initial mistakes she made in her business, from small costs that can change an invoice to underquoting.
There's a time I got a wedding in Machakos. So that time you call a truck and be like, how much would you charge me to Machakos? I'll charge you 40,000. Then now come the day of the event, you realize, oh, one load is actually not enough. I need like 3 trips.
How creating structures and systems in her business changed the trajectory of the business.
I start cutting out on very many unnecessary expenses. I introduce systems to my business. I adjust how I price things.
She tells us about the 2 business loans she's taken, one that led her to being auctioned and the other that she says allowed her business to flourish and succeed.
I took a loan, bought seats, bought tables. The mistake I realized again I did was...
What does that do for your loan and your ability to repay the loan?
I couldn't meet my targets. Actually, it led to my business being auctioned. We lose everything. Everything.
Learn about the things she did in between to make the second loan work.
I make my books, all that. Then I go back to the bank for a loan. But I feel like this time I go back smarter.
Hey everybody, this is Barak from Financially Incorrect, and it is the holiday season. So the first thing I must say is from everybody at Financially Incorrect, happy holidays to you and your loved ones. I hope you have had a blessed year. We want to wish you a fantastic end of the year and a very prosperous new year. The bad news is we did not get to 100K, so we cannot have the biggest party in East Africa. The good news, however, is that we did get to about, by the time I'm recording this video, about 68K. So I must say thank you to the 18K people who were able to subscribe between when we did the last video to this one. But this video again is just a reminder, if you like our content, whether it is Uganda edition, whether it's the business edition, whether it's the regular Kenyan edition, please do subscribe, share it with a friend. Let's get this platform as big as possible. We are in the process of creating more community events. We've had a mixer, we have had a love and money event earlier in the year. 2026, we are looking to do bigger and better things. We have a newsletter that's going to come out as well. We want you to be part of the Financially Incorrect Club and to create more valuable stuff for you guys. So please do participate in all the stuff that we have, but most importantly, have a fantastic end of the year. Happy holidays from me and everybody at Financially Incorrect. Hey guys, welcome back to Financially Incorrect. It's a Tuesday, so this is the business edition. I have a business money story for you. But before that, let me get through some really quick announcements. One is I have a gun to my head to tell you that there's a newsletter. So the link, anyway, the link is in the description box. We are, as you know, we've been working on building the Financially Incorrect community. So please do sign up for the newsletter. We will send updates, new things that we're doing, new events. You know that we've had a game now, we've had a mixer, and we have many more things that we're planning to do. So please sign up for that. If you'd like to recommend a guest, whether it's a business or an individual, again, that link is in the description box. Please do send them our way, and we will try and ensure we get their stories, especially for 2026. In fact, tell us, what is your guest list for 2026? This is both Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya. Who would you like to see featured on Financially Incorrect? Or what business would you like to see featured? And we will do our best to ensure that we can make that happen. Oh yeah, we are hiring. We are hiring a podcast operations partner. That link is also going to be in the description box. If you feel like you want to work at Financially Incorrect or work with us and try and build this podcast, make it bigger, make it better, make it more awesome, please do check out the link in the description box. I think it's also on our IG, and I think it's going to be on, it's on Twitter, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be on LinkedIn as well. So please do check that out. If you think that this role is for you and works well, please do come. We're looking for some help. Now on to our episode for today. Anyway, so I'm just looking because I need to get the right bio for our guest today. Who owns or who is in the event space? I don't think we have featured an events business yet. I think this is the first events business that we're going to profile. And her name is Monicah Etemesi, and she's a Nairobi-based entrepreneur, wedding planner, and luxury event stylist. Best known as the founder of Pritt Events, a company that was built from the ground up in 2020 at the height of the pandemic. She is raised in Kitale by a resident single mother after losing her father at age 10. Should I read the rest?
Yeah.
So it's like a job. Anyway, let me keep going.
Yeah.
Monicah credits her strength and drive to the example that was set at home. Pritt Events has grown into a respected name in Nairobi's event scene, delivering high-end weddings, corporate launches, political events as well. Interesting. Influence activations, private socials, balloon artistry, florist work, and furniture hire. Her journey includes working with prominent politicians, major brands, and luxury clients. But her success has come with real struggles. Seasons of zero cash flow, overwhelming debt, unpaid staff. Anyway? Burnout and moments where the business almost collapsed. She also shares that she had 3 failed businesses before this, which we'll hear about. Anyway, she's also a fitness, lifestyle, comedy, and business content creator, known for her honest, unfiltered storytelling about the realities of building a life in business from scratch. And her work speaks to women who are rising through adversity and fighting for a better every day. Sorry. Also, if my voice sounds a bit weird, I am in the process of I'm like on the last couple of days of a cold. Let me give context to that cold. The person who gave me this cold is Sir M. Sir M, because we recorded an episode with Sir M last week on Wednesday. He came with a cold. I think his episode will be scheduled to go out the week that this go out, but it's Sir M who has given me this cold. And we had booked episodes, so we had to get this done. So especially for the guys on Spotify, please bear with me if my voice is a little nasally. And the AC is on, because the cameras need to be cold. So lots of problems today. Anyway, welcome to Financially Incorrect.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm looking forward to hearing this story.
Yes.
Who's the most famous politician you've ever worked with? And if you say who they are we working out now?
Yeah.
Because there's, it depends on what you say. We can say this is finished. We're joking, of course.
Yeah.
But what's it like working in the political scene? It mustn't be easy, I assume.
It's messy. Working in the political scenes is very messy. Because, riots, the people fighting, chairs being thrown all over, such like things.
And I hear if they don't pay you beforehand, just forget it.
Yeah. They have to. For politicians, when you're working with them, they have to pay
Yeah.
beforehand. Because actually, when you sign up for a political job, you have to expect a lot of loss.
So why do you do it?
It depends. For the money, I think.
But it's a loss. So
Yeah, but now it's always compensated. Because you see, political figures, when they pay you well.
I see.
Yeah. So you've already included your losses and everything. But it's not really my niche. So.
Have you ever had a conflict of conscience?
Not really.
Okay. So you've been aligned with whoever you...
Most of the time, the people I've worked with, especially the political scene,
Yeah, you believe in whatever it
I
is.
believe in whatever it is they're doing.
Okay, that's...
So we've launched a lot of manifestos. We've done campaigns, the county tours that they do. So you end up sitting in various counties. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, most of the people I work with, I believe in them.
Okay.
Yeah.
December season is here, or holiday season is here.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Christmas or holiday season tradition?
On a personal level? Or
Yeah, on a personal level.
family, I guess.
Yeah.
Christmas comes with a lot of, get-togethers, like the value of family, seeing people around. It's actually a very happy occasion. And I feel for me, it gives me so much fulfillment. Just seeing family reconnect, unite. Some people have not seen each other for a whole year. Others are here, others are abroad. So
Right.
I feel like Christmas is like let's get together, let's celebrate. Yeah.
What's your favorite money memory around the holiday season?
My favorite money memory?
Around the holiday season.
I feel like people growing up, maybe I feel like I've grown up in a culture where like Christmas comes with abundance. Everybody knows that Christmas comes with almost getting whatever it is you want. So Yeah, I'd say that would be like my favorite money, because it's not like no one would call you out for traveling, for buying a luxury thing, for
Yeah.
dressing up, for eating those foods we don't eat. So
Uh, right, of course. Do you prefer a cash gift or a well thought out gift? What would you prefer?
I'm very sentimental, so I'd say a well thought out gift.
What if the cash is there a limit to like the cash gift? Like if it's above a certain amount, it's like, yeah, give me the cash.
Yeah, definitely. I think.
What's the amount? Is it like anything above 50K, give me the cash?
Yeah,
Or 100K?
No, 20K, I think.
If it's above 20K, just give me the
just
cash.
give me the money,
It's fine. Like you can keep your sentiment.
Yeah. Because I believe like those things that are very expensive are things people buy for themselves. Like I'm wondering what gift you'd give me that maybe that I'd really appreciate, that I've not thought about getting it for myself above 20K. But now, of course, I have a wish list of the things I'd prefer to get with that money. So
Yeah. Okay.
But I love people who go out of their way to buy something. It could be cheap, but just something that speaks to you or something. I like that.
Okay. Last question before we like really get into your story and into your business story as well.
Yeah.
And this again, I'm asking, or I'm saying again, but if you've watched this, you haven't had me say it yet because I said it when we recorded earlier.
Yeah.
This is in faith that we will have we'll have a partner here working with us on this particular question.
Yeah.
What is the single most impactful thing you did in 2025 for your money story or for your money health?
I'd say becoming an influencer in
Okay.
2025. It helped me. I became the marketing whatever single department in my business, and it's really worked out so well for me. So when it comes to like having to like let's do pro bono events, like putting so much money into like influencer marketing and all that, I've actually cut that budget this year.
So now it's you who does it.
And I do it so well because I feel like I carry the passion that no one else can carry for my business.
Right.
So I'll do it, because I'm doing it for myself.
Right. So it saved you money and it's allowed you to make more money.
Yeah, it's made me more
Okay.
money.
I mean, I think that's a really good answer. Really good answer. Okay. Let's get into it, right?
Yeah.
What's the origin of your money story, even before we get into your business? Like, I know we through the bio, you already know that your dad unfortunately passed on when you were 10. But what was money like in the home? What was money like when you were growing up?
I grew up in like I'd say a middle level like home. We could afford like the basic needs like food, shelter, clothing. It was not a struggle. But now when it came to well, first of all, like I have 3 brothers and we are nearly age mates. All of us are like 1 year apart and all that.
Okay.
So like let's say for example, when we went to high school, we were all in high school. So the pressure it became too much. When we were in campus, all of us were in campus at the same time. So I experienced scarcity because there was demand, like for everybody. Everybody was demanding. There are days when we would come back home because of school fees and all of us were there, and my mom would have to sit down and look who has exams first, who is the priority among the 4 of you. So I'd say I grew up in a home that we didn't lack, but we also survived a bit. Yeah.
Right.
So there was always lack. And I think also growing up, I got the drive to always like make money and get money. Because even despite those challenges, I'd say my mom really tried to put us in good schools. I'd see her struggle through it in as much as, yes, she didn't compromise when it came to education for us.
Yeah.
All of us went to the best schools. Most of us were in private universities. So it was a struggle. And I feel like my mom, for me, would be my role model when it comes to aggressiveness in looking for money, because she showed us it could be done. So that's the spirit I carry also these days. Anything you want, you can go for it.
Right.
Yeah.
When do you, because it sounds like, and from the conversation you had before, there's 3 businesses you get into before you get into Prit, which is what you're primarily doing now, right?
Yeah.
So do you, when does your entrepreneurship spirit begin? Like when do you decide I'm going to be an entrepreneur and not pursue a 9-to-5 employment?
I had a 9-to-5. I worked, first of all, I did a diploma, then I got a job. Then now when I was doing my undergrad, I was job hunting. And anybody knows job hunting in Kenya is not a joke. I looked for work. Then you could get like works that sometimes was not sustainable and all that. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like I had a very toxic workspace where I used to work. And it made me do I say detest employment in a way? I just felt like now this is the life forever because I used to have like, long working hours, paid, like, like we would go for months without being paid and all that sort of thing. And that for me, I decided like, I want to create my own thing. I want to have my own, like will to do things. I want to dictate how much I want to make and all that. So yeah, so after I quit employment, I decided even if I look for work, it's just gonna be the same. So I feel like maybe do I call it trauma?
Right. It set you
Traumatized
down that
itself.
path.
Yeah, so that's why I decided let me become an entrepreneur, do my own thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about these three ventures that you get into, and where do you even get the capital to get into these three different businesses, and how do they pan out?
One thing about all the businesses I started with like zero capital. Like you're just like, I think for the three businesses I've done, the first one I did was I sold maize. Like in Marikiti, you go with a truck full of maize and all that you sell. That one was inspired because my mom is actually a farmer. So we have the farm. I was like, we have the farm. When I was working, I was like, this could be like, I invested the money into farming. I used to earn a salary, invest the money into farming. And if you've ever farmed before, if you know farming, it's very like seasonal. There's a
Right.
time for planting, a time for weeding, a time for all that. And that's what I did the first time. And then now I only did that business, I think, for like 2 months. Then I realized it's not like I sold green maize for 2 months. I realized it's not sustainable. One, because of, do I call it fees or cartels? There are people who control these species. Literally, for your truck to go into the market, you have to pay like 20K. And this is back in 2013 when I was doing that. And it became so expensive. I had to transport that maize all the way from Kitale to Nairobi, which was a cost. So I realized the hassle was too much, but what you're retaining is very little. So I was like, it's not worth it because you have to wait for the maize to grow for like 8 months and then
Right.
pay so many people. The people who are benefiting at the end of the day were like, yeah, cartels, I'd say.
In the business. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the first one.
That's
Then
the
what's the
first one.
second one?
The second one, I tried selling women clothes. I feel like most people, that's the first business they do, especially if you're a woman.
Yeah, there's
That's the
a few
first
people on
business.
that seat as well who've done that.
Yeah, I think it's the fastest thing because you're like, okay, what is it that you, and then I think that time when I was in corporate, I liked dressing up a lot. I used to have a friend who'd tell me like, today, let's dress like this, let's dress like that. We really enjoyed that because I feel like we had so much time and that's the only thing we do, look good in the office. And people were like, okay, you guys look good, you guys look good. So
Right.
where do you buy? Where do you buy? I was like, this is a business opportunity. I can be buying all these things and selling. So I started selling clothes. So I feel like also the first mistake I did when I was doing the clothes business, somebody told me like, instead of going to hand pick clothes, go and buy a bell, tumba bell and buy. And the first time I invested, I think it was like 20,000, bought a bell of clothes. And I think I only got like 3 good clothes inside that bell. It was proper character development.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I didn't give up. I still went, started handpicking. Then I realized that this is just not me because I was not passionate about it. I was doing it for the money and the money was not coming. So
Right.
it was a very easy idea to just like,
So you shelved that as well after a while.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the third one?
The third business, wait, why am I forgetting?
So we've talked about the farming. We've talked about the selling, attempted selling of clothes.
Oh yeah, but I think farming and maize business were
Were
the
sort of
same.
similar,
Because
okay.
I tried to sell like grocery and farming, which more or less like were just
Okay.
the same. Yeah.
So it sounds like you're working in corporate. You have a salary.
Yeah.
Were you on a good salary? How much were you being paid?
No, it was not good. I think I was being paid like 35,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are not happy with what
I
you were
wasn't
making
happy
at
with
then.
it. Yeah.
So what leads you to this position where in 2020 you decide to now start Pritt Events?
I had a passion. I wanted, first of all, to do a business that I was passionate about. And if there's one thing events has taught me is that even when the money doesn't come, my passion keeps the business alive.
Okay.
Like there are days I'd struggle, there are days the business would go like, even like, like we're not making money, cash flow issues and all that. But my passion drives the business. That's why I was like, the next business I want to do a business that actually I enjoy doing. And that's how I landed in events. I was a person when I was in campus, when I was in university, I used to be that person. Still, I am that person when people are looking for things like we're looking who can cook, who can take good photos, who can do this. It's like you are the one they look apt. When I was in campus in Daystar, I was, like I helped plan a lot of events,
Right.
in school. So people would be like, help us source for this, help us source for this. And I felt like this is a business opportunity and it's actually something I like. So why not now start charging for these services and create a business?
So how do you start? Because we know again you're starting with zero capital. How do you start? How do you get your first gig? And what's the story around that first realization of, okay, this is now what my next business is going to be? And because especially it's in COVID time, right? This is 2020 COVID time.
Yeah.
What's happening in your life as well at that point?
My job in 2019 around December.
Okay.
Just before like COVID now came, 3 months before COVID, I was like, that time I thought I'd saved enough. I'd paid for my house for like 3 months. I knew like now this one will hold me as I figure out what it is I did. So when I quit my job, I knew I had no other option than to make this business work. So now, come January, of course, it's a very slow period in events. I didn't do anything in January, but I still knew this time I was working on like the foundation, registering the business, getting all these things that I needed. So when it came to February, my brother was celebrating his 30th birthday, my elder brother. I was like, I don't even have like photos to show of my work. I don't think people believe I can actually come up with something, because most people who had trusted me then were like friends and fellow students and all that. So I did a setup for my brother's birthday. Yeah, so I was just like, do you want to do a party? Let's invite people. You cater for food and all these things. I'll cater for the deco and all that. So you see, the beauty of being in the events industry is you could sub-hire these things from other people. I'd go to an events company, be like, help me with 20 chairs, help me with this, help me with that. And that's how I was able to come up with some. Because at that time, I was trying to build a portfolio, like show people that this is the evidence of what I can do.
Do you charge your brother?
I didn't. I didn't charge him. He was like, no, I was not planning for a party. So so I have to pay for food. I have to pay for all these things.
Right.
So I didn't charge him. I did it. It was my investment in the deco. Yeah.
And does that lead to anything?
I think it did. That time those were the days of Facebook. I used to be a yapper on Facebook. I used to talk a lot on Facebook. And that time people were actually invested in what I was doing. So when I did that, I got a very good professional photographer, took good pictures. Those were days of pictures. Reels, I don't think even Reels were there. So good pictures. So yeah, and then I posted them on my socials and I was like, this is it. Like, yeah, I'm trying to, that time I'd not even registered a company yet. I was just like, let me see if it's, I was just doing like, like proof of concept to see how people would receive it. And it was actually received very, very well. People were like, oh, this is beautiful. And at that time when I was starting, I was literally targeting luxury kind of clientele. Not your kawaida birthdays. I was targeting people who are willing to spend for such things. Like they're willing to invest their money in creating good, good spaces.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so COVID hits around March. You said you had paid for your house for about 3 months.
Yeah.
Do you get any money in between January and March to enable you to pay for the 4th month or the 5th month?
No. Now I get inquiries. People are like, oh, yes. And then as I said, I'm targeting luxury. And that time, people were not really into luxury as people are now. Right now, people are willing to pay top dollar for event services.
Right.
So people are like, yes, there are inquiries. People are following. I've opened a page. People are following all that. But there was no tangible business that I was doing. So come March and the government is like, no meeting. It's a shutdown. People are not allowed to meet and all that. And I feel like it literally crushed me. I was like, hey, I don't know. So I sat and like, this is not the best time maybe to be hunting for a job. This is not the best time to actually like keep pushing for the business. And I think I fell maybe into depression. At that time, I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay with my mom. I stayed in Nairobi for like 2 months. Then I realized I only have 1 month left to do that. I'm not raising any money. I'm not getting any income. I was not in a position to keep staying in Nairobi. What I did was like, I packed up everything, gave notice to my landlord, carried everything in my house, transported it to Kitale. I was like, I think Nairobi is not for me. I'm going to start life in Kitale now. So that's how I went back home. I stayed home for like 6 months. I came back to Nairobi, I think, was it in October, not so sure. Yeah. So I came back, there was still lockdown. There was still people, there were no, events literally depends on people meeting.
Yes.
Without people meeting, there is no event. So it was still very, very slow. I went back home.
So you came back, went back
I
again.
was coming to test the market to see how it was. Then I realized still it's not very sustainable. I went home because at home there was no bill I was paying.
Yeah.
And I was happy.
So how long do you end up staying at home for?
Now the whole of 2020, I stayed home.
Uh-huh.
I only came to Nairobi for like a week. Then I realized
It wasn't it, so you go back.
Water. Then I was like, so I was like, let me go back to farming. Actually, I could give it like a second shot at it.
Yeah.
So I go back home, and I stayed home. My mom is very supportive, very, very supportive. But you see now, of course, at home also, my mother will be like, "Are you looking for work? What's your plan?" Parents will be like,
Yeah, what's happening?
Yeah, so now come January, I was like, I'll just start my life afresh in January, know how to go about and everything. Then in January, I think I lost my grandfather. My grandfather was actually like my father. He's the one who raised me up. So again, I took like 2 months before I came back to Nairobi. So I officially came back fully in March 2021.
Okay.
At that time, people had, I think, forgotten about the business. People never even thought about it. But my friends could ask me, like, there was this thing you were doing. Because at that time, I was now back to the job hunting space.
Right.
I'm looking for work. I'd be like, I know I said employment is not for me, but I need to survive. So I came back in March. And now I revived my business page. I started posting, like, the work I'd done for my brother, because that's the only event
Thing that you had
That's
done
the
at
only
that point.
portfolio I could show. I kept posting and posting.
Yeah, were you reposting like versions of the same image?
Different angles. Different angles. I mean, there was also a friend of mine who told me I could become a wedding blogger.
Yeah.
So I started writing articles on weddings
Right.
as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and people were reading and all that. Then I think
And where were you staying now when you come back?
I was being hosted by a friend.
Okay.
I was being hosted by a friend as I was now looking for a footing and all that. So come March, still in March, I started posting and all this work was not coming. So I kept applying for work and I actually got an interview, which the day of the interview when I went, I got an inquiry on my business page. Somebody asked something. And this was a stranger. And for me, that was such a highlight moment because you don't know me. You've just seen a random page online and you're asking about something. I felt very motivated to keep pushing this dream because I am even now very passionate about events.
Right.
So I didn't go for the interview.
Because of the
told
DM.
them- Yeah, I told them that, unfortunately. Because the DM, when I was talking to that client, they were promising. They were like, how this very promising. They actually it converted into a job.
Oh, yeah?
I was like, and the main reason why I was quitting employment in the first place was it was not giving me enough opportunity to concentrate fully on the events business.
Right.
Because I needed to work like an 8 to 5. Then we normally used to have, because the kind of work I used to do was like I used to deal with a lot of immigration work and all that. So most of the people I had to prepare these passes and all these things for were only available after 5. So after work, I needed to give in another like 2 or 3 hours for these people to come. Yeah. So I was like, if I go back to the business, to the employment phase,
side.
I will not be able to pursue my dream.
Right.
Yeah.
So how much then is this first gig that you're getting and how do you make your money on that first gig?
So it was about 20,000. For me, that was huge. There was a time I was looking for like gigs for 10K, plastic chairs, dressed, and all these things. And when that person believed me with 20,000, I was like, oh my, this is huge for me.
Yeah.
And I remember when I went, the job materialized, and when I went to do this, it was a baby shower for this person. I now had to do like I gave them more value than what they had paid me because I wanted to show people I can actually do this. And the 20,000 was not enough for me to be able to showcase. So I had to go back, talk to my mom. Can you help me do this?
Get a bit
Then my mom was like, why am I paying for someone else's baby shower? I was like, no, don't look at it like that.
Yeah.
It is my dream you're funding.
Right.
So I asked her and then I went all out for that baby shower and the reception was good. People were like, wow, this is good. This is good. And I feel like after COVID is when people now started appreciating the value of interaction and also the value of luxury events because kitambo, like people would be like, you have 300 guests, bring plastic chairs, bring a tent, the mothers union will cook, these people will do this. But now you're working with professionals, like people who are actually like, this is what they do on a daily. So of course, the outcome they're giving is good. So people pay for the service. I realized, wow, this is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the first gig you get through. You get some extra money for your mom. You pull off this amazing baby shower.
Yeah.
What's the next significant thing that happens in your business's money story? Like when do you begin to get enough income where you think, okay, now maybe I should register or think about really formalizing this business that I want to be in or that I am in. Yeah.
So it happened that in the baby shower I did, the lady I was doing the wherever for, the mom is a prominent like politician.
Right.
That's for me, I'd say would be my breakthrough. Because this woman believed in me, not because of the work she had seen on social media. And I'd say like the clients who've paid me so well, or the biggest gigs I've ever done, have come from referrals, like people believing in me and pitching that story to someone else. So this is a lady who tells her mom this lady who did my baby shower, she does a good job. The mom was launching a manifesto for something, and the lady gave me the gig.
So your second gig was launching a political manifesto.
A political manifesto.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that? What was the? I mean, I can imagine. Maybe you can explain a bit more about the process of I guess the events business. I can imagine those are two very distinct kind of jobs, and the level of experience and the level of things that's required to deliver on those two fronts would be different.
Yeah.
And the level of cash I assume would also be different.
Yeah.
So what can you give me a bit of context into what that looked like?
Yeah. So when I was actually starting, my target was small, intimate parties, like intimate events, very not like on a broad spectrum or something. So now when this lady introduces me to her mother, I go to their home. They believe in me. They are like, in fact, she believed I was the only one who could understand what it is she wants.
Yeah.
So from the way she had gassed me up, talked to me, there's no way I was telling her, no, I cannot do it. So I go back, I do my research, now getting to know people in events. As I say, the beauty of events is like you could work with people who have already been in the space before you. So I start looking for people like, I have this gig, this person wants this and this. Is it something you could deliver and all this? And people are like, yes. So at that point, I onboard an events planner who'd done these things before.
Right.
And now I shadow them. So of course, when we go to meetings and all that, I'm the face. But now, yes, I shadow them. And yeah, that's how it worked. So the person came through, and for me, that's how I got to learn event and maneuver the event space and how different events like work.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So your first gig was worth 20K. How much was the second gig worth?
It was a lot. It was about 4 million.
About 4 million.
Yeah.
So you go from
I didn't even know like I could even handle. I was afraid. I almost like ran away because it was not something I felt I had the capacity to handle. And I remember talking to this client of mine and telling them like, I'm not in a position, like, because from experience or from the way people talk is like, they pay, like the way they give you an LPO, they'll pay you after 3 months, they'll pay you after 90 days, 15 days.
Right.
And I knew very well I do not have the capacity to handle such an event.
Right.
And the lady was like, no problem, we'll pay you up front. It was a scary moment actually for me, because I was like, now how do I behave? I do not know how to behave.
Yeah. And at that point, do you then register the business bank account, or does the business already have a bank account?
That time we had.
You had one. Okay, so the money goes in there.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, and this question would probably take you a little bit ahead of the story, but with what you know about the events business now, because now you're 4 or 5 years in, how does the event business work? How do you make your money? And if you look back at this 4 million that was being paid, are there things you could have done that would have allowed you to make more money in that first gig?
Yes, there is. Because remember, as I said, I didn't own anything at that time. I didn't even have a house. So when they were giving me this money, so I was being hosted. So at that point, everything was like, now in the event space, how it works, there's something we call having suppliers and client rates. They're different. So for example, I want to hire this glass. I'd come to you and be like, I'm not the end client. I want to borrow this glass to go and use in another person's function. So I'd charge the client this glass 200 shillings. You'll give me at 100. So I am making something.
Imagine.
Yeah. So that's how it worked for that. So the event person, the event planner, rather the event person I worked with that time, that's how we agreed. So we'll be like, of course, that time there are so many things that undercharged. There are so many things I didn't even know the price. Sometimes
Right.
you work with supplier A, they're willing to give you this. Supplier B, their prices are different. So you have to do a lot of research to know who is the most reliable supplier I could work with.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, I feel like even that was the first time I wouldn't say it was a loss, but I didn't really make anything out of that money.
Right.
Yeah, because most of it went to paying the supplier and most of it also went towards covering the things I had underquoted.
Right. So I guess with that context, are you able to give me like with what you can share, like the magic of the business of a business model that works well in the event space? Because from what I've understood so far is there's the supplier rates vis-a-vis client rates, so you can make a margin off of that. Where are the other places where you're making margin as opposed to the direct fee? I'm assuming that you're being paid as an event planner or as an event coordinator. Are there any other spaces where I guess you would be making money from?
Yes, because now for now, like people pay for like my consult, people pay for like just coming and explaining to you how, because you see, right, that the problem or the downside of events is it's not like, let's say, I'd say like a therapist. You're using your brain to help me, like, sort my problems or something. But you see, for events, it's things, it's movable.
It's a tangible,
Yeah, it's a tangible thing. So you have to look for ways like to make money without really
delivering the event.
So now, like for today, I'm a wedding planner. People pay me to plan weddings. I'm a corporate planner. I do corporate events. And that one now is just people tapping into my knowledge. And that one is me. It's not money I'm taking to someone else. When you pay me to become your planner, it's my brain you're minting from. You get it?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for events, the long term, I'd say, is just to own your things. If you want to fully enjoy being an event decorator or being in the event space, is to own your things. Because that way now you cut on the many like expenses. Because imagine, for example, I'd say, let's say you get a 1 million job. Maybe the branding person takes 200,000. A florist would take like 200,000. Let's say you're hiring a tent, maybe like 100,000 roughly. So you realize you're just like a middle person.
Yeah.
Connecting the client to the people who actually have. And as the middle person, you're the one getting tired the most. You're the one who is doing all the donkey work.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you're the one who is getting the least money.
amount
So
of
if
money.
in 1 million you can retain only 100,000, it's not viable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When does that realization come to you? Is there a specific gig or job that you do where it dawns on you, where it's like, I need to control this whole value chain if I'm to make the most
and
amount
I'd
of money?
say for long. That thing happened for long for me to realize that it's no longer sustainable. If I want to move to the next level, I have to look for ways to fund my business. I need to look for money to invest in the business and start owning my things.
Okay.
Because I'd say one mistake I also did, there's a time later on I got a wedding in Machakos, for example. So that time you call a truck and be like, how much would you charge me to Machakos? I'll charge you 40,000. Then now come the day of the event, you realize, oh, one lorry is actually not enough. I need like 3 trips. I think that's like, I've never healed from that situation. And
So that means 120. It becomes 120.
Yeah.
now.
It's the eve, like 2 days to the wedding. I can't go back and call my client and tell them
you need to.
you need to add money. I actually went for the site visit. I left and went for the site visit like 2 months before the wedding. That would have been maybe the opportune time to tell the client that I've realized this place is far or this place is this. You need to, So it's, again, something I have to go back to my pocket and cater for.
Yeah.
Then I realize this is not sustainable, because now also in events, there are fragile things. We carry things differently. A lorry that is carrying tables and seats cannot be the same table carrying, the same truck carrying like chandeliers and glassware and all that. So I went through so many losses to come and realize that, this business model is not working. I need to sit down and restructure and rethink what I need to do to be able to retain a lot of money. Because at that time, I get a lot of clients, but you're not growing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how does to get there? But how does to move now, I guess, from this first gig? What does doing that gig do for you now? Because this is not the second gig you've delivered. I assume they were happy.
They were.
So what then happens for your business after that? What's the next big money thing that happens for your business after that?
First of all, I feel I earn credibility. People believe now in my work. People believe that I can actually deliver. At that point, I'm not taking much credit, because now also another challenge I had now with that planner I was working with is he took He posted
Majority.
these photos on his social media. He owned, he took. So it's like I'm the one who is copying his work. You know?
Right.
Like, yeah. So when I go, he already had a platform. When I do it, it's like people believe in him more than they do in me because he's been in the space for long. But all the same, I get networks. One thing I've realized in business, you need like networks. For me, that's what's worked. So people, first of all, at that point, people who came to the event believed that she can actually do it. My client introduces me to her fellow politicians, fellow colleagues, and all that. And people now start believing in me. And now my prices, my value change because I realized that day, even that lady sat me down and she's become a business mentor over time. And she told me, like, people are quoting figures. Somebody is quoting like 40 million. Your quotation is like 3 million. And most things I've realized with clients who, and as I said, people love spending in events these days. And people today don't look at how low your quotation is. People want somebody who can give them value. One person could have quoted 3 million, another one 40, but they'll opt for the 40. And they feel like this person who is doing 40 actually believes in what they are doing.
Right.
Yeah. So from there, I learned about pricing. I learned about, like sourcing things. I started now creating networks with different event providers, knowing that if I want the best rates for this, I'd go to this one and this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so now tell me about now this period, this I'm going to call it mistakes, but that's painting it with a very wide brush.
Yeah.
This mistake business model period. And what are the, maybe like 3 scenarios of the things that you learn and the money that you lose in the process or the money that you don't make in that process? And also, what's your personal life at that moment? Have you now moved out of your friend's place? Have you now gotten your own place? Are you making enough money to pay for yourself and sustain your own life?
Yes, at this point I have moved because my friend only hosted me for like a month. Then at that point, again, my mom helps me get, I'm like, I need a house. And that time I'm looking for a big house because this house has to be my storage. It has to be my home. It has to be my office. It has to be everything. So I moved and I feel like that time I shifted. I used to stay in like a small 1-bedroom house and now I'm looking for a bungalow that is standalone in a compound and everything because now I needed storage. When you're in the event space, storage is very, very important. It's very key because now the more you acquire things, the more you buy things, you need a place to store. So I'm like, for now, because I cannot be able to afford both, I'm going to do like one unit serves everything. So I get a house, I sublet, it had an SQ, I sublet the SQ. Then now I make the down, it used to be like a whatever. So the downside becomes like an office and I stay upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah. So at that time, I'm trying to really limit my finances because I had I didn't have much to spend. As I said, I'm making a lot of business mistakes, and at that point, especially, which I wouldn't encourage someone to do it, I'd say it's a mistake. At that point, I used to go very all out for my clients because remember at this time, people are focusing more on that point, luxury. I wanted to be a luxury event planner, which I am. I did not want to become like the kawaida thing you'd see everywhere.
Right.
So remember at this point, I'm trying to create a portfolio. And one of the biggest mistakes was you pay me 20,000, I do an event worth 50,000 for you because I want to get the pictures. I want to get these things but these days I don't look at it as a mistake. I look at it as an investment, which I think helped me to move on. It's just mental.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I used to do. But now I stopped. At some point I realized I've gathered enough portfolio. I've gathered enough, I have a catalog.
Yes.
I have things I could show. I'm already building a name. My social media is growing and all these things. And people have started believing in me. So I stopped doing that.
Can you give me a scenario where you spent the most, or what's the most outrageous amount of money you spent on behalf of a client? Yeah.
I'd say, and it was my friend's birthday. And you see now,
Are they friends? Are they friends to this day?
Yes, they are.
Also,
they've really supported. So I feel in a way they've paid back.
Okay.
They've paid back. It was my friend's birthday. She was turning 30 then. And then when she was doing this function, she didn't have a budget for it. And she was like, I want to give. She was okay with me doing whatever it is I want, but I was like, this is my friend. I have to make it. And now you see, like everybody coming. I look at every gathering, every wedding, everything I go. For me, I look at these people as my clients. You'll see this and you like. So that time she has a function in their home, backyard, and and I have a lot of Pinterest saved things that I want to do.
Execute.
This is what I want to do. And that time I sit down and I'm like, I'm going to do this for this client and I'm going to do this. So I think it was about 100,000. I spent more almost 100,000.
Then what?
So I give them luxury. I give them what it is I want to be known for. Yeah, that's the highest I've ever gone. So she's my friend, yes. These days she affords to pay what it is. And yeah, so I feel like it's an investment. Yeah.
Okay. So you talked about sort of that investment period. And even before I ask about whether you get a return on that, give me another, because we've talked about the Machakos incident of you realizing you needed 3 trips rather than 1.
Yeah.
Are there any other incidents you can give me around where you learned painfully that either what you had quoted wasn't going to allow you to make money, or any kind of scenario like that?
Yes, I think another example I'd give is labor costs. Most people really overlook that. So when I was starting, I'd be like, a tent is this much, a chair is this much, transport is this much, and all this. So at this point where I'm outsourcing so many things, I have another event in Nakuru. And when I go in Nakuru, in my mind, I've not figured out like, I have to pay for labor for like 3-4 days. Like when we go for an event out of town, we have to count like these are 4 days. And when you close business for 4 days now, but then I was using other like stuff that belonged to someone else. So it's like, I'm sending my boys to come work for you. They're not going to be commuting from Nakuru to Nairobi every day.
Yeah.
So you have to pay for their meals, you have to pay for their accommodation, you have to pay for their night out, like out of office charge, and you have to pay for all these things. Then I sit down and I realize, oh, wow, this is actually a cost that needs to be factored in when I'm pricing my items, which then I had not. I thought like, okay, you're coming to Nakuru, you pitch, you go. So I feel like that also was a loss that I went through.
Yeah.
And now these days I'm very keen on things, because now, for example, let's say you want to hang a chandelier on top, you have to factor in that it needs something we call a lock chain, which again is a cost. So you realize there's so many in events, there's so many hidden costs that you can't see like from face value.
Right.
Yeah.
And come with sort of experience and your understanding.
Yeah.
Okay. So this phase then of your business, do you get to the point now where you begin to pay yourself a salary, or at this point in time is still, because I guess for a lot of entrepreneurs who've sat on that seat as well, is there's a period where it's like my company money is my money is company money, and there's little separation at that point.
I feel like, yeah, and I did that. That's one of the biggest business mistakes I've ever done. And it's, as I said, I stayed in this period for a very, very long time, because at that point I was like, me is the business. Like, yeah, so I'm just taking like 100 shillings to go and buy bread. It's not going to kill the business.
Right.
So you realize like there's no separation of business money. You're not paying yourself, because at that point I felt like, as I said, I used to stay in a place I'd consider an office. So it's up to
Paying
the
the
office
rent.
to pay the rent. I'll just stay there. When I buy food, I'd be like, I'm working and all this. I'll take this as an entertainment cost and all that. So I had not really separated it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is something I said, it's a lot of mistakes I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and at that point, I'm assuming now we're like in 2022 going in 2023. What's the business averaging like on per month? How many gigs are you doing per month? What are you potentially averaging in revenue per month? And how much are you actually making? Because there's the revenues that you're quoting and people are paying for, but how much are you actually taking home? How much is the business taking home?
I'd say I wouldn't even know. It's something like now, of course, now that time, I wouldn't even know, because it was a time where I did not like have proper systems. I did not have like an accountant. I was everything, where that business phase where you're everything. That was me. And then like, I was like, I never even used to do my P&L to know like how much is it I'm making, how much I'm not making. So at that point, money was coming in and I could see the growth. I used to do like, I was busy and booked for every weekend. I was busy. So at that point, we could make about 2 million to 4 million, depending with the month, because event is also very seasonal.
Yeah.
Like there are days you'd make a lot of money. There are slow seasons, there are high peak seasons. Yeah.
Yeah. So at this point you're saying because of the lack of systems, you're not even able to really tell like how much you're actually taking. You're just living, it's paying your rent, it's paying whatever, and you're moving. Okay. So what happens that you then decide something needs to change here? There needs to be systems. There needs to be, whether it's an accountant or whatever it is that comes in, and what's the first hire or the first thing you do to try and create processes for your business?
I went to the bank for a loan. And now when I went to the bank for a loan, they were asking like, and then I feel
why did you want a loan? Where did the loan idea come from?
As I said, I felt like I'm really retaining little.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm making a lot of money, but a lot of this money is going to suppliers because I don't own these things. So that's when I go. And at that point now I realized the what is it called? The bank is asking for audited accounts, is asking for like profit and loss, whatever sheets. It's asking for a lot of documentation that I never even really cared about. When I started this business, for me, it was, I could survive, I could pay my bills, I could see the growth. That for me was enough then. But now I'm at a point where like I need to start getting my own things. If I have to enjoy this business and I feel like this business has to be sustainable, I have to start getting my own things. And that's what pushed me to now look for the bank.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you go to the bank asks you for a bunch of documents
Yes.
that you don't have.
Yeah.
So what do you do then?
I give myself some more time. I'm like,
Okay.
I need 6 months to make everything right and prepare all these things. So now that's when I start thinking, I need a systems. I need to like outsource accounting services. I need to like somebody who can even do bookkeeping, just to know how much have we like done in terms of business, how much profit are we making now, how to do a postmortem of every event and realize like, you know, like this is actually a business that made sense. This is a business that we made a loss. And actually being in the event space, it is very easy for you to make losses because it comes, as I said, losses and damages. And there are those ones I'd say is an acceptable loss. For example, you hire this chair from me, you go to a function, it breaks. That is already like something we cannot use again. But now there's something also we call goodwill, because you're a customer, you've given me, let's say, a job for 1 million, and then now I come and ask you for this chair, which is 5,000, and now you're like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But of course there are extents. When there's too much extreme or extents, now you have to pay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does getting processes within your business do for your understanding of the money in your business? What are the learnings you take away? Did you think, maybe let me ask this even more directly, did you find that you were making more money than you thought, or did you find that you were making less money than you thought?
Less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I realized we are making less money because it was a one-man show that time. Yeah, it was a one-man show and you're doing everything. You're not, at that point I felt like I was comfortable. I didn't have higher goals, I'd say. I was just okay with just being there. Then I realized this idea of like going an extra mile is expensive. Idea of like not consolidating things is expensive. Idea of getting, because you see sometimes I'd call you like, how much is your tent? 30,000. I'd call someone else. Do you have these chairs? Yes. Do you have? Then you realize you're doing trips in Nairobi, picking things all over because you're trying to go for the cheapest option. But now you sit down after I brought in like somebody who has started helping, is like, if you are only saving 1,000 shillings going for seats, like let's say for example in Banana, and our event is in Westlands, and maybe the person in Westlands is charging 50k more, 50 shillings more on a chair, but he's using his own transport to come. So we started
Which one
making
is cheaper?
like, the mathematics that made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one only came when now somebody sat down and started documenting, doing all these things. And I realized sometimes I couldn't feed on my own brain. I needed somebody else who'd come and challenge what it is I thought was right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you give me some context? What did you think you were making, and what did you find out that you were actually making?
At that time, I can't really put a figure as much.
Yeah.
But
Tell me what you can.
I feel like from them, we used to have like a net of like 1 million. Then I realized like then we could actually make like up to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 million. If the processes,
were done properly. Okay. So we talked about this I guess, before we started recording, and I guess I'm sort of preempting it, because you talked about a loan that you then end up taking. Is this loan that you took, do you take it after this? After this period, once you have the books, it's sort of during that period.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that loan and what the idea was, the plan was for it, and why it didn't quite work out the way that you would have hoped?
I took a loan. I wanted to buy my own things.
Yeah.
Then now I went, bought seats, bought tables, bought everything that I felt the business needed at that point. Then the mistake I realized again I did was I really invested on things that have a very low ROI. Like the return on investment on these things was so low. And they were not things that people were actually using or taking. For example, let's say tables. We work with hotels a lot. You go, hotels are providing all these things, so no one needs your tables. You go to somewhere and maybe, for example, it's a corporate function or something, people don't need these things. Then I realized, oh, actually, and these are they are the cheapest things in, like, let's say a quotation. A table is very cheap compared to something like a chandelier.
Right.
Because I'd charge, like, let's say a chandelier 100,000, a table is 200,000. The buying costs are almost the same. So the ROI on the table is very low. The ROI on a chandelier is low. So I used to have things, but now they are not making me money.
Right.
Yeah.
So what does that do for you? What does that do for your loan and your ability to repay the loan? Yeah.
I couldn't meet my target, my monthly threshold of paying this loan. I struggled, and actually it led to my business being auctioned.
Right.
Yeah. So they took my business was auctioned, and yeah, they came, they took all those things, they sold, they recovered part of their money, and yeah, I moved on with life.
I have a question about even before the auction process. When you were applying for the loan, because it was hefty. It was maybe give a couple of ranges. It was above 3-4 million.
Yes,
Let me give
yeah.
a range. Let me give people the ranges above 3-4 million. When they were doing the evaluation, were you confident you'd be able to pay it back?
Yes, I was very confident, because at that point I was making more than that a month, and the threshold, or rather the installment they had told me to pay, was very doable, because it's money I could keep, I could have. But then I realized you have a loan to pay, but the things you have are not making you that money. Yeah.
So even the money that you were making without these things, did that reduce so that doesn't allow you to pay back the loan, or was your repayment based on projections of the money you would make off of what you bought?
Projections. Yeah, it was
Okay.
totally based on projections.
Okay.
But the mistake I did was I went for low ROI things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was easy to acquire. Because you see now with events, most things are, you have to import. All these things that are luxury, you have to import. But at that time, I wanted to look at what it is I can find here.
Okay.
That can help, like, retain more for my business.
Okay.
Yeah.
So by the time there, what does the auction process do for you? We've had, I think, 3 people. One, Prit, what comes to mind is the strongest one. I think there's 2 others who have been auctioned. And what was that auction process like for you? And were they able to recover all of their money?
They did.
Yeah.
They did, because I really of course, there are things I was buying through, the loan aside, there are things I had already acquired. Like now you saw I do a gig, I retain some money, I buy. I do a gig, I retain some money, I buy. But now I had things, and of course, before they gave me the loan, they saw I had the repayment ability, and I had value. Like, it was my business was like was the collateral, and it was up to it. So now I struggle. I try to look for another business loan to pay the loan and all that. And I feel I just let go. I felt like I don't want to fight it too much, because they came, it was already decided.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
maybe what I want to find out is, what does the business lose? Because of course, if they're taking something, they are taking stuff that you already own. What does the business lose in that auction process?
The inventory, the whole of it.
Yeah.
We lose everything. Everything. I think they only left laptops or something for us to continue working.
Yeah.
So I lose everything. But as I said, one thing that has kept me in this business is passion. And I don't think anything can take away the passion I have of the industry. So I'm like, okay, yeah, they've taken everything, but they've not taken my willpower. Of course, it's a sad moment for the business, that point, because it's like you're moving forward, but you're not. But I just pick up from where I started.
Okay.
I have a name. People believe in my business, and all that. So I start again.
So what year is this that you are starting now, that you're starting afresh?
2023.
This is 2023 now. They've taken everything. You're starting afresh again.
Yeah.
What do you do differently now when you're starting again? Because the problem you are trying to solve with the loan is still there, I'm assuming, because you still don't own the stuff. So you're still not able to make as much money as you would if you owned the whole value chain. So what do you now do differently?
I start cutting out on very many unnecessary expenses.
Okay.
I introduce systems to my business. I start what is it called? I adjust how I price things, because at this point I'm looking to make more money for the business to grow. And I feel like that model worked for me.
Yeah.
Because it's working even now. Because now, at least now, I realized from all this now, I was able to retain money. I could buy things off the business without
having to get
the loan from the bank. Then right after that, I make my books, all that. Then I go back to the bank for a loan. But I feel like this time I go back smarter.
Yeah.
Because I know what it is I want to get. I know what it is that will give me quick money.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do they give? Is it the first of all? Is it the same bank?
No, I had a grudge with the other one. It's a different bank.
Okay. And so did you?
Yeah.
So did you get more money from the bank?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what did you do differently with this money? And can you give us a range of where this second loan?
I go for like around, I'd say 8 to 12 million.
So it's a bigger loan.
It's a bigger loan.
Wow.
But now I feel like my brand has grown. It's really, really grown. People
Okay.
know about us and all this.
Okay.
And now I know, as I said, I know where the money is.
Yeah.
I was investing in things that if I use once, my money is back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I decided like, you know what, I'm gonna like now import things
Yeah.
from China. So I go, I tell the bank, you have my account, this is it, these are the things I want, this is how I'm projecting and all this, and they accept. Yeah.
I'm curious. Can you give me an example of a ticket item or an item that you brought in that you're saying you use once and your money comes back?
Chandeliers, as I said, I'd mentioned it, I think earlier.
Right.
Chandeliers, you buy it in China for almost the same amount you hire in Kenya.
And that's what 100. I don't even know how much they go for.
100K, for example. Like, no, but not really. It depends, because you see now the chandeliers are different. They're those ones we modify with like locally available items, like
Right.
flowers and all this. But for example, a bulb chandelier, you'd buy it for like 25K in China. You'd come to Kenya, you'd give it at 30K.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but with one rental, essentially, you have your money.
Yeah,
back.
you're back to
I
your money.
see.
Things like glassware. I'd buy this glass in China for like $1. I come to Kenya, I give it out to the same once my investment is back.
Right.
Then I realized that way my cash is not, because the other time I have the things, but but they're not moving. They're not making money for me.
Right.
But these ones are moving. People are hiring. People are using it each and every other day. It might not be a client of mine, but maybe a supplier is coming to get it from me.
Right.
So it's still a plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I also want to ask about the process of you getting this second loan. Were there any psychological hurdles you needed, especially having gone through an auction, that you have to get through to convince yourself that, you know what, let me get this other 8 to 12 million loan?
Yes, but not much. One thing about me, I like taking risks.
Okay.
I'll just be like, okay, itakata ispo work sawa. Like
Let's
even when
take
I was
it
going
again.
to the bank to ask, I was not sure they'd give me anyway.
Yeah.
But now I gave them security that now ensured that they were able to give me that money. So when I come, I sit down with a financial business consultant, and now they guide me. Now I'm acting from a point of wisdom, not a point of ignorance. Because I realized the first time it was about what I thought was good, but now I realize this one, I went to take it now with the demand that the client wants.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I sit down with a business financial advisor. They tell me what it is. They understand my business, and they guide me through the process.
Okay.
And I feel like, yes, it's good.
It is worth taking.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm curious because, of course, we're talking about this in conversation, and so it seems almost very easy, and that the process was very smooth and very simple. But can you talk to me a little bit about the business growth and the growing pains maybe that you had between getting auctioned again, getting your business healthy again to a point where a bank is willing to give you another loan valued at between 8 to 12 million shillings? What are the things you went through that period? How are you building the business? How are you, what's the actual thing that's happening on the ground? And is it as easy as you're,
No,
saying it
definitely it's not easy. It takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of sweat, a lot of hard work. Because this time now you're looking at, one thing about running a business, it's like a baby, I'd say. You want to see it grow. You want to see it now, you're not crawling, now you're walking. Now you're like, you're now giving me back. See, the same way we grow up and we give back to our parents. You're looking to grow a business that actually does the same. So I put in the work, hard work and all that. Now, as I said, systems, I now get people who can actually I invest in classes, in things that can help me make better financial decisions. And yeah, I feel like it works. It worked for me because now I no longer repeat the mistakes I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What does hard work mean for you in the event space? Is it you're working 7 days a week? Is it that you're doing 2-3 gigs and every weekend, like you're doing many gigs? And how are you able to actually get that capital going? I'm trying to figure out if I can hear as practical as possible, like what it took for you to actually get your business to the level that it was at.
Hard work for me, I'd say, is more about. I have a target up to now. I have a target of how much I need to make. So it means like extensive marketing, a lot of networking, and all those things. But now, even going back to the like, after doing, as I said, like of course after the auction process and
Right.
all these things, and now I'm rebuilding the business. Now I'm making better financial decisions. I'm investing in myself and everything. So I go back and I see it. And I think at that point, I never thought it would be actually worth it, like going back for a business loan and everything. But I talked to my mother. She's like, okay, what is it that we have? The bank is asking for this. And she supports. One thing about my mom, she really supports my dream
Right.
so much. So she goes and be like, okay, if we need for you to make money like this, because I feel like that point I had already done the business to now understand it better. The first time when I was taking a loan, it was just like trial and error and all this, and that's why it went
Sideways.
south. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now this time I'm going in with knowledge and all that. So I work hard. I talk to people of influence. I visit hotels and tell them, if you have a gig, this is this. I sign MOUs with places and all that. So I feel like that at this point I'm confident enough that I can be able to actually now utilize a loan well.
Right.
Yeah.
And sort of, I guess with that understanding, can you tell me, is this whole value chain of the event business, where do you make the most money from? Is it from the event itself? Is it from owning the stuff that people hire? Is it from the use of your knowledge? Like which space takes most of the money? Like if you had to give it like percentages.
I'd say the most money is made from the inventory, the things we have. Yeah, because that way you get to retain a lot. For example, you are, let's say, using, because now you see, now when you break it down, you realize, like, for example, I'm spending 500,000 a month on transport, on logistics and all this. So it makes you like, now I need to buy a lorry. You know, like, for example, you're making like 500,000 again going into flowers and branding and printing. I feel like events, the space is a guideline on itself. You know where is my money going the most and what am I going to do about it. Also, like from my own knowledge as a wedding planner, because you see now, of course, it's something I've done for long. I have an idea on many things.
Right.
Yeah. So it's also part of what makes me money.
Okay. So in this process now, I guess as a business getting successful and growing, I'm curious, what's the most expensive event you execute, or most expensive wedding that you execute?
Wedding or general?
Can give me both.
The most expensive event I've ever done, I was paid around 15 million.
You were paid 15 million.
Yes. That's
Like
the most expensive.
The money you took home, or the cost,
gross.
the cost of everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the most expensive event I've ever done. And then for wedding, the most expensive wedding I've ever done was about 5 million.
About 5 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is now just deco, not like the whole.
Like the whole. Right, of course. Okay. So what's the next big thing that happens for, I guess, your business money story? Because now we're, I think, getting into 2024, if I'm not mistaken. So what's the next big thing that happens for your business money story? Because now, also before the conversation started, you told me that you have a team of 7 that you have. So what's that process now like when now you have people you have to pay on a regular basis?
I feel like the more people in events, the more people you have, the more revenue you get, because that means now you can be able to handle multiple events at a go. So I realized, like, okay, now we are growing. The more we grow, there's more demand. And then now you're like a household name. So the demand is a lot. So now you're making more money. And I feel like the highlight of my business was 2024. Okay. This is the time I sat down and be like, wow, I'm proud of what I'm doing, because it was less struggle. It was, you're retaining more money. Because right now, remember, we've bought so many things that we own. You're no longer like paying a lot of money for suppliers. So the retention is a lot. And now that you're there, you become self-accountable. You're also accountable to your staff, because now I cannot misuse the money. Somebody will ask me, okay, this one has paid. Why? People in my office will be like, okay, we've not seen this, because people used to even pay me with M-Pesa and all that. But right now the processes helped that now things cannot even come out of the office without like maybe somebody counter checking that was this payment done, how much is the balance, and all these things. So I cannot steal for myself.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
the
see.
presence of employees.
I see. Okay, so 2024 is a big year for
Yeah.
that. At what point do you, because you talk about processes, so at what point do you separate now yourself from the business? When do you come to that true separation?
This is still 2024,
2024.
where I'm like, I'm no longer, I'm letting people decide. I'm letting people do things. I'm just there like an overseer. I'm giving people in the business the liberty to make better choices, because I realize you cannot always be the one making decisions. And I feel like it has really worked for me, because now there's no familiarity in the business, because I feel like, events is very emotive, and events, like, for example, if I'm planning a wedding, we are planning a wedding for like 1 year or even 6 months, depending on the time you've come. So we get to bond. I feel now like you're my friend.
Yes.
You're my sister. We are doing this for you. So you realize that time when I'm working with you, we develop a friendship, and now I'm making emotive decisions.
Yeah.
So right now, my team can be able to like, okay, now speak to them when it comes to payment, speak to this person. And people are operating not from a point of emotions, but from a point of knowledge that, yeah, this is the right decision we need to make for our business, which is something I never saw when I was working alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. We are now an hour, 10 minutes in, so we are just we're just winding up. But I'm curious. I have maybe one or two last questions I want to ask you. Looking back at the business, at the growth that you've had, and I would say that, well, quick growth in the sense that you started 2020, went home for a year, came back, started again, went through an auction process, started again. What do you think has been your biggest catalyst to allow you to grow the business as much as you have, to the point that you've gotten it now? What do you think are the things that have really allowed you to get there?
I feel like being out there. One thing for events, one thing that gives you the most money is people knowing you exist. And now being in places where I've rubbed shoulders with a lot of people who are in influential spaces, and of course, the business model for events is normally referrals. Like, people would refer you to this and this. And 2024, 2025, that's what made me become an influencer or a content creator, because I wanted to talk about my business more, talk about, like, let people know we exist. And that point, people now believe in your craft, and people are willing to pay you more money. And so for me, I'd say my business, the main highlight was getting myself out there. I've worked with a lot of influencers, which some of them were very bad. It went so south in a way that I didn't expect. And that's when I was like, let me talk about my business, because the more I talk about my business, people get to know me, people get to trust me. Yeah.
So that's been, you think, putting yourself out there has been the biggest
it's been the biggest
thing that has
because
gotten
people
you to move.
can relate. I feel like sometimes, like, when you're hiding under something,
Yeah.
people feel like why it's an advantage, it's a disadvantage, because sometimes you cannot also be able to be everywhere and give everybody whatever it is they've needed. But it's really built a lot of credibility, because it's you. We feel like if something goes wrong, it's you who is accountable. It's you who has to answer to this and this. Yeah. So being out there talking about it all the time has really helped.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm curious again about the skills you've had to build to be able to manage the company that you do now. And I'm looking at it from the perspective of when you were starting, you were in your friend's house, executing your brother's birthday, and then it's a 20,000 shilling gig. The next gig you're doing is a 4 million gig. And now you talked about doing multiple gigs throughout the month. And you talk about doing business courses and taking on things to help you, develop the skills to allow you to manage the money and the business that you do now. What would you say that process has been like, or what do you think that has taught you, or what have you learned maybe about getting to who you are now that allows you to manage the business that you manage now, especially the money part of it?
Did I get the question?
And the transition, essentially, like the transition you've had to go through, what would you say the transition you've had to go through has been to let you manage the business that you manage now?
I've built a lot of resilience, I'd say. I've learned to make like better choices in everything, because you see, when you're starting, it's like you're very fragile. Like you're so you don't know how to put yourself out there. You don't know how to tell people I do this. People don't believe in you. People in this era of like people being scammed and everything. But now I feel like over time, ever since I started doing this, it's something I've had to build a lot of confidence around it, a lot of perseverance. There's so many things I never thought I would be, but I am now, because it's more of character development in a good way. You get to know that, yeah, even if it's money, I have to make better money decisions. I know what to invest in, what to do, who do I need to talk to? Because I realized if you're building a business, you really need to have like connections that really help you,
Right.
even like, save when it comes to spending money to the company. So over time, I've realized, in as much as, yes, you can create wealth and have money and all those things, at the end of the day, you need to also protect it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Two last questions on the loan process and getting capital. What role has that played in being able to accelerate your business growth and to accelerate your business to where it is now?
First of all, I'd say without it, I don't think I'd be where I am, because growing is actually very hard. Because I know there are many organic growth is very hard, because sometimes you have a dream, you have a very good dream, you have something that would actually like blow up, but sometimes people lack the finances or the funding to be able to fund this thing. And for me, the easiest, because the only way I realized, I had somebody say that, the world is very unfair to people who don't have anything. And I'd say, like, for example, access to finances, access to people. And for me, I'd say one thing that has helped me is that I had something that could help me, like, act as collateral for me to access money. Because accessing money, honestly, it actually accelerates growth. Because right now, I can be able to pay for these things that I'm saying, self-investment things. Because those business courses, they're not cheap. They're not like things you'd do that. And sometimes you need that push to scale your business, to make it visible for people to see and know that you actually exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But worth it. or it's potentially worth it.
Yeah, it's what I feel. I'd say it's actually worth it. Yeah, because if I didn't have that money, I don't think I'd have gotten to where I am.
Okay.
It's still a struggle, because sometimes you are overwhelmed.
Do you wake up in the night now thinking about I still need to finish paying my loan, I still need to finish
a
this?
lot. And one thing I've struggled with also is, I don't know if I'd mentioned, is like, overwhelming debt. Like,
Yes.
when you have debt that is overwhelming, there are nights that you can't even sleep, because you don't know, like, hey, what happens next?
Yeah.
But I feel like you just have to keep the drive. You have to keep pushing, because at the end of the day, you want to make money. You want to get out of this position where you're worried about loans, you're worried about debt, you're worried about many things. You want to live freely. You want to experience financial freedom. Like, you can do anything without thinking.
Yeah. Two last questions, because I've heard you talk about, especially in this event space, I've heard you talk a lot about referrals. So if you were to categorize for me where most of your business come from, like what percentage of it is from referrals? Is it like 50%, 60% of your
90.
business? 90% is referrals. It's purely
90% of my business is purely referrals.
Yeah. That's a big amount.
Yeah, because it's a chain. You see, like the event industry is like, for example, Kikuyus always have like 6 functions before the main wedding.
Yes.
So you're like, you go for the introductions, you go for the CG, the word, kuhanda, whatever they call it. They go for, so it's like a chain. It's like a chain. You did a good job for my sister. My other sister is getting married. My brother has something in his office. My brother, CG, he's traveling. We're doing farewell for our boss and all these things. So for me, an online platform is actually just to showcase people that I can actually do it. But most of the clients I interact with, it's either like, oh, I got your number from Barack, I got your number from this person, I got your number from this person. Purely referrals. And I feel like it's actually more weightier when somebody refers you to someone than just an online thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last question. What does financial success look like for you in 2026, for your business in 2026?
Financial success 2026. I'd say I hope I can be debt-free.
Mm-hmm.
I can have like finished paying my loans and things that actually, I want to be sustainable. I want to live a life where like I'm not worried about like there's this loan that is killing me, there's this that is doing this. But as I said, it's always a journey. I feel like I feel like it's a process most people go through, or you have to go through to get there.
Right.
So 2026, 2027, I'd say for me, is more about like attaining the financial freedom and just being able to now operate fully on like
what you
the
have.
business, yeah.
Okay.
And also breaking into bigger, like a corporate space. Corporate events are actually very good. The retention is better than weddings. Weddings and showers, people are very emotional. It has a lot of
Corporate is-
emotions. Corporate people are like, in corporate events, we'll talk for a week, we are done.
Yeah.
For weddings and all that, we'll talk for 6 months and all this. And then there's a lot of people involved: mother of the bride, father of the bride, cousin to the bride, and all these things. But for corporate spaces, it's actually very professional, very straightforward. Corporates, the retention on corporate events is very high compared to weddings.
Right.
So yeah, so I'd wish, or I'm foreseeing like 2026, 2027 being more of breaking into the corporate space, and also now like, yeah, trying to offset a lot of debts and loans.
That's okay. Last question. What is your happiest money memory?
Happiest money memory.
Yeah.
Do I have?
You don't have any happy money memories yet.
Okay, money is always, it makes you happy all the time. But the happiest. Would I put? Let me think a bit.
No problem. You think.
My happiest memory, sorry. Buying a car. I don't even say really buying a car, because I feel like I've had more bigger things than the car. Yeah. But yeah, of course, buying a car.
No, so what's the happiest? If it's not, it's fine.
I feel
What would you,
happiest,
and it's for you to decide what happy also means.
I'd say maybe like now importing things of my own.
Yeah.
Actually, it is. The memory of just saying like, okay, yeah, now I own these things. Now these are my things. I no longer have to rely on a lot of people for this. It was actually a very happy. I never thought I'd get there. And I feel like sometimes also interacting with people, rubbing shoulders with people you never thought would be there, and them trusting and paying you in full and all that. I feel like that just getting my own things was my happiest memory.
Yeah.
Because now the things I brought was even more valuable than the car. So yeah, car was happy because it was my first car, and it's actually a highlight moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting my own things, importing a full container, actually, that was my happiest moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the Financially Correct Business Edition and giving us some insight into the event industry. Like I said, I think this would be the first one that will give some light and shed some light on what that industry works like. So I'm sure it's going to be helpful for a couple of people. Thank you very much, and happy holidays.
Thank you.
Now this is going out on 2nd of December, if I'm not wrong. So now we are like really in the holiday season.
Oh yes. Yeah. Happy holidays.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays. Thank you so much for having me.
You are most welcome.
Really
Please do. Of course, as the conversation goes on, there'll be like the tagline that has your Instagram handle and everything.
Yeah.
But please do tell the people via this camera where they can find you and what they can look for you for to this camera. This one. Yeah.
As mentioned, I'm an luxury event planner and content creator, and we go by Pritt Events. So if you're looking to do your wedding, anything that has a gathering where 2 or 3 are gathered, where baby showers, birthdays, anything, corporate launches, product launches, manifestos, memoirs, and everything, we are available on all our social media platforms. Pritt Events. Pritt Events is our business name. You can find us online, and you can also follow me because I share a lot of business insights and just life-related stories. Blessed Etemesi.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for watching Financially Correct Business Edition. We will see you 2 Tuesdays from now to have our last business story before we wrap up the year. Happy holidays, happy December, and enjoy yourself. Have a good one. See you in 2 Tuesdays.